Gas stations are in between places people go to grab something they need on their journey. Be it gas, food, or a quick pick-me-up, people rarely have much time when they stop at their local pump. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean much in today's crazy world. Gas stations are just as wild and unpredictable as any other place, with minimal regard to other people's schedules or needs. These are some more of the craziest clips out there, from all over, set at regular, run-of-the-mill gas stations. Any one of these could be around the corner from you. Hopefully not though, right? Make sure you watch to the end to see how insane, disturbing, and downright terrifying these clips are. Gas pump freakout. The gas pump is a stressful place to be. No one's arguing that. But some people crack with the pressure of all that stress and unease.
There were like 4 pumps open and she literally screamed, "I want that one at me."
This woman, sitting in her vehicle, presumably getting ready to pump gas, seems to have angered the other. The other woman begins freaking out, taking photos of the woman filming and verbally berating her.
"What is your
This woman points out that there are a ton of gas pumps open, showing it in the video, but the irate woman continues to scream at her and call names. She looked up directions on her phone, as she said, and the woman approached her, screaming that she wanted a specific gas pump. Presumably, there's no difference between them. She's just decided that the pump is the one she needs. Forgetful at the pump. Being absent-minded is one thing. This is a whole other thing altogether. The woman in her red Volkswagen must have forgotten her car was hooked up to a gas pump as she went to drive away, yanking the pump along with her. The man filming follows the woman, documenting as she picks the pump up and walks across the gas station. According to the YouTuber, the attendant explained this happens all the time. He explains in his caption that she was texting and not paying attention, driving off in a hurry as she yanked the pump off.
I'm so glad I can make it today. I hope you don't have an emergency phone call.
Gas station meltdown. If you're going to lose your mind over something, make sure you're in the right. This video seems to start like any other late-night convenience store. This woman may have been freaking out before, but she was uncomfortable being filmed by the man with his camera.
Try to question me. Never wait outside for your dumb ass.
She gets up in his face, asking if he's gotten enough.
Do you have enough? Do you have enough?
She tosses the phone out of his hand, claiming she could sue him. He's quick to pick it up, but she doesn't stop. She continues yelling at him from across the store, calling him names and saying they couldn't do anything to her.
I don't give a you dumb as hell. They're gonna lock you up for lying.
She clearly believes herself untouchable because she doesn't just rush out, taking her time to continue insulting the man, who, to note, doesn't react to any of her baiting behavior, before finally exiting. Insane pump crash. The last thing you want to see at a gas station is a car crash. Cars on their own can be dangerous. This car, seemingly from nowhere, comes flinging into the lot, toppling over a gas pump while already on fire. People around them began running, trying to get away from the flames in the erratic car, speeding off no matter what else was going on. The man whose car was run into jumps in from the opposite side of his car, and the person in the crashed vehicle does the same, just a few seconds before a gas station attendant runs out, putting out the fire with surprising speed and ability. In these situations, how do you think you'd react? Would you have been able to put it out so quickly? Animal climbing shelves. Sometimes things happen that are wild in different ways. Certainly, this was not just some average day at the market. How often do you see something that looks like it belongs with the dinosaurs climbing alongside your favorite snacks? Thankfully, these people aren't in danger, as the animal seems more intent on getting up to higher ground than anything. But still, what a strange experience to have. Sets fire to Porsche. We're all at the mercy of the people around us. This man, it seems, had ideas about how he wanted to act in public. One man stands, a nonchalant observer as the man runs up, pulls the nozzle out of the car, pours gasoline, and sets the stream on fire. The driver's nowhere in sight because she's in the front seat. Presumably, she hadn't seen the fire yet because an attendant had come to help her out of the car. Fortunately, as they run off to safety, a group of other attendants came running in to help put out the fire. It's enough to put out the flames, but only with a together, concentrated effort. Off-duty cop pulls gun. Every job deals with wackos. There's almost no exception. When people walk into their next shift, chances are the last thing you expect to deal with is guns being drawn and people kicking up a fuss. Chances are this gas station attendant surely isn't paid enough for that. As he reaches into the cash register to pull out the change, the man across from him picks up something off the counter and stuffs it in his pocket. The police officer behind him, it seems, is a little on edge as he assumes the man is trying to steal the candy.
I paid for it. Put it back, police officer. I just paid for this.
As it turns out, that's not what happened. He'd already paid for the candy and was simply pocketing it for simplicity's sake. The cop pulls out his gun in a threatening display as the others do their best to explain the misunderstanding. The officer doesn't seem willing to listen as he tries to explain until he turns to the cashier himself for confirmation. The cashier says he did in fact pay for it, and yes, he was sure.
He paid for it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
My apologies.
Leaving the police officer to apologize, then turning back to the cashier to explain who he was.
You know who I am, right?
Yeah, I know.
Gas station victim fights back. Not everyone will feel comfortable fighting back. Sometimes that's a more dangerous way to handle a situation rather than dropping everything and running. This news clip shows off a security clip of the moments where two men approach, trying to mug the woman who had just been trying to pump gas. She isn't one to take it lying down though. In fact, she quickly fights back at her attacker. The two men quickly give up the fight, leaving her and instead running off to steal the car. Unfortunately for them though, their escape wasn't so smooth. They were caught on camera, clearly, their faces attached to the violent crime in a way that's hard to dispute. Pickpocket in a gas station. It's always best to stay aware of your surroundings. While walking up to the counter at his local gas station, this man seemed to know his victim wouldn't be paying much attention. Smoothly, as if he's done this hundreds of times before, he reaches forward and pulls her wallet out of her pocket. We don't see him do it, but we can probably assume he spent a good amount of time scoping her out just to get the perfect angle. It's so smooth that nobody catches it. The man pulls her wallet, waits a moment, then immediately hightails it out of the store. No one stops him, of course, just simply making off with the goods immediately. Abandoned gas station. There are a few cooler places out there than places that have been forgotten and abandoned with time. YouTuber Brenham Frederick takes advantage of this interesting phenomenon of urban exploration, walking up to an abandoned, long since forgotten gas station. It only adds to the place's strange, almost apocalyptic atmosphere as they have to climb through bushes and brambles to find the place, well off the beaten track.
I told you we were gonna find a way in.
Luckily, from there, it's smooth sailing. The rest of the clip shows them climbing in through the broken windows, showing off all the left-behind stuff in the shop.
The only thing we got left, some light bulbs, some tape, petroleum jelly, BC powders, and headache medicine.
It feels like a small Snapchat of a well-lived life, as this was likely the small area's everything store. Nothing was left behind, but it looked like it used to be pretty well stocked. Have you ever seen a shop like this near you? Is it still standing? Let us know below in the comments. Gas station fire. Fires happen. Just ideally not where gasoline and cars are involved. This woman goes to fill her Jeep up, fiddling with her gas pump before grabbing the nozzle. This should have been routine, but it became a night she'll likely never forget. As she sits back in her car, mere moments pass before she gets back out. What seemed to have happened was a static charge from inside her car, likely cloth or some kind, ignited the fire. This wasn't like the other clips, where people started the fire. This wasn't necessarily her fault. In fact, to take it one step further, chances are there's practically no way she could have known. She does as she should, pulling out the fuel line and running. We don't see what happens to the car, but presumably nothing crazy. Chances are it just stopped burning. A little anticlimactic, but alas. Gas station bear caught. Very rarely do you come across something so strange and odd that it defies logic. This wild video catches a 500-pound bear that wants a late-night snack, walking through the small convenience store as if it were just another customer. Customers in this situation seem to be built just a little differently. They smack the timid bear, tell it off, and eventually chase it off. As it turns out, several different instances have happened at this exact location, likely with this exact bear. More than a nuisance, this 16-year-old bear is a regular customer at this location. A little rude if you ask me. Before the last clip, since you watched until this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? We upload 2 new creepy, disturbing, and downright scary videos every week, so stay up to date with our latest releases by getting those post notifications. If you enjoyed this one, we have plenty more for you on the channel, so you won't want to miss a single one. Gas Station Tornado View. No matter where you are, a natural disaster can be terrifying. Whether it's an earthquake, blizzard, or anything else, you do not want to be at ground zero when things go down. This clip shows the CCTV of a tornado ripping through a small-time gas station. The camera becomes choppy as it begins to shake and rattle with the full force of Mother Nature. Several times, the storm seems strong enough to knock out a lot, especially as evidenced by the quick and suddenness. I'd venture that many people don't know what it's like to be surrounded by a deadly, powerful force like this. It tears through the whole building, several rooms go flying. Gravity is so much more important than we give it credit for, and this is a good example of why that is. This might not be actual zero gravity, but gravity isn't exactly getting involved in this. The world is moving, and anyone on its warpath might be disappointed to hear it.